We have Brooke Olzendam joining us right now. Brooke, I'm going to say long time at this point because this is year 4. Next season will be year 5. Long-time sideline reporter during Blazers broadcasts. It's going to be a big day today, talking Friday, because the Blazers getting that season restarted. And first, this can be a totally personal answer. Just want to know from your perspective, Brooke Olzendam, how excited are you to have basketball back?
I've been missing basketball and my job so much. I think I said this once on Twitter at the beginning of when all this happened and the season was postponed, that I didn't realize how much I got out of work, how much like self-worth I felt, how much like I needed the routine. I needed to watch basketball. I mean, I grew up with basketball, and it's one of those things, like, I know everyone has felt it. We've taken certain things for granted. And one of those things for me, and it was watching basketball, was working on basketball, was being around basketball. So just to have it back, it feels like my well is full. Like everything is like as it should be, you know. To say the least, I've missed it very much, and it's not just watching it. It's being, like I said, being around it, just getting the chance to like sit back and just take it all in. There's a feeling of comfort for me when there's basketball around me. That's how my whole life's been.
I'm curious because you're still back here in Portland, and you and the rest of the broadcast team were talking about Jordan Kent and Michael Holton and Lamar Hurd, all broadcasting from here in Portland while the action is there in Orlando. So for starters, how weird do you think that'll be?
Well, I will tell you this. We've had 3 scrimmages, which we've all done. It was kind of like just to get comfortable with so this is essentially a bit of a new role for me, a new role for Jordan. So we wanted to get a few of those under our belt to get comfortable, and also just to bring the basketball to the fans. And yes, it's a scrimmage, but Rip City loves their basketball, and they don't really care. They just want to see their team. So it was good, I guess, practice to have these 3 scrimmages. I'll tell you, it's weird. I mean, I'm up on the concourse now filling in for Jordan while he's filling in for Kevin Claver, as you know, stepped down. So he is now like filling in that role for the time being. And so I'm up on the concourse where he used to be, and that's where all the fans were like, yeah, you know, freaking out, kids on, you know, dad's shoulders and all that. And there's no one there anymore. So it's an interesting situation, but I mean, I would do it from here if I could, you know, if that's what was asked of me. Just to be able to cover basketball is what I want to do. So no matter what the circumstances are, we'll do it. But it's just a very different feeling. And I've talked to a couple of the guys, you know, down in Orlando. We have these Zoom calls with them after practice for media. And I mean, we talked about how there's no fans for games, and they said, you know, it is odd. But I'll tell you, Carmelo Anthony had a great answer. He's like, I actually really love it, because then you hear everyone communicating, talking, and then you also, it's very blatant. It's obvious if we're not communicating enough, because the silence is there. So it kind of forces us to communicate, you know, whether it's on defense or just talking about the game and, you know, being a team. So it's interesting for them too. It's different for all of us, but we're just happy basketball is back, and I think we would do it in any way that was asked of us.
So with no fans in the stands, based on what you saw during those pre-restart scrimmages, are these games going to kind of have that feel of a summertime pickup game between the guys, or is this going to look like an NBA basketball game the way we know and love it?
From what the guys say, I mean, they're focused, they're dialed in. I mean, their practices have been fantastic from what coach and the players tell us. And you may have heard Dame's quote. I can't say it right now on this, but there's a word that I can't say, I'll leave it out. But he said, we're not down here to waste our time, you know. So when they get going, I think that they will definitely be focused and dialed in. They've said that from day one. We're not just here to play a few games. It isn't maybe an AAU atmosphere or some sort of camp summertime feeling. But when we get started, that feeling's out the window. Like that we're here to win games. We're here to make the playoffs, and we're not just here to play a couple games and go home. We're away from our families, so we're not going to take that for granted, and we're not going to waste that.
What if I told you the next 30 seconds, I promise you, will only be for online, will not end up on television? Do you want to give the direct quote from Dame now, or still no? No?
That was good. That was good. I was totally all in on that one. I think I'll pass. I want to continue my job at least for the rest of this season.
All right. This is a different looking team now than we saw at the end of the season that had to be shut down a few months ago. How is this team going to look different and better than what we saw just a couple of weeks ago, or say months ago?
They have so much more height. I mean, I would say that the league is trending, has been trending towards small ball, but this team has a completely different look. And Lamar and I have talked about this on air, because he and I obviously called the games up until the postponement, and it was more about shooting the three, our backcourt, which is still our backcourt will always be our biggest strength. But now, not only do they have 2 7-footers back in Nurk and Zach, they already had Hassan, who had a career year. I mean, led the league in rebounds, blocks. He was having a phenomenal year, still will. So it comes down to these guys can defend. It completely changes their defense. So I would say that the perimeter defenders, i.e. Dame and CJ, Carmelo, they have a little bit more confidence in the defense as a whole, because if there is some sort of mistake or a miscommunication, they got 2 7-footers down low to clean up the mess.
Do you ever see a scenario where Hassan Whiteside, Yusuf Nurkic, and Zach Collins might all be on the floor at the same time?
I mean, I think that we would all just kind of love to see it for just the, the shock factor of it all, just to see how it would work. I mean, who knows? When's the last time you saw 3 7-footers, on the floor together? So for me, I would love to see it just because I'm weird and I think it'd be interesting. We'll see. Coach Stotts is not afraid to, try out some different lineups. I mean, I know he definitely experimented in the scrimmages. I'm not so sure in regular season, but hey, who knows? Times right now are weird. Why not throw 3 7-footers out there, see what happens?
Brooke, you were great to join us here today. I know you're going to have a busy Friday, so thanks for coming on board with us, and enjoy the restart of the NBA season.